Hey guys, BYOTools, aka BYOT. Thank you for joining me, and today we are finishing this Mondo deck project. If you want to learn how to finish it, keep on watching. Let's get started.
Now the star for our second portion of this project is going to be obviously the decking, and we are using Timbertech by Azek building products. Now this product is extremely durable, and we are going to be using the cypress color, as you can see from this color scheme from the vintage collection. Now this product is incredible. It comes in multiple widths. It has a 50-year stain and fade warranty, as well as 30% cooler. It's lighter, splinter-free, more traction. The list goes on and on, but we'll get more into that later on in the video. First, before we start installation, I always try and do a plan view layout of a deck. This will give you a general good idea as far as how the deck is going to be positioned correctly, as well as the fact that since I am going to be doing this for a client, it gives them something to approve prior to me installing. Now, since this is going to be a picture frame deck, we're going to be installing the square boards first before the groove boards. Now these boards are 8 inches wide, and they are going to be going throughout the perimeter of the deck. It's basically acting as the border of the entire deck system, as you can see from this little example that I made all myself, just for you guys. The green boards are the actual border boards and the 8-inch wide boards. All the other boards are going to be the grooved 6-inch wide boards. Now these cuts are just a standard 45-degree mitered edge for the corners of the deck. Once I have those cut, I then proceed to cutting off any excess that I need to remove from the deck prior to placing the boards in place. Once I have my first couple border boards cut and ready to go, I then move them to the backyard and finagle them into position. I, in all honesty, don't know if finagle is the right word there, but I did position them into the proper location, just making sure that the miter as well as the overall length looked correct, because you only get one shot at this, and if it is the correct positioning, it'll just make everything go more smoothly in the process. Now comes the fun part, hardware, and we are using Azek decking Cortex fasteners. Now we're using the cypress, obviously, because it matches our cypress boards. Now with this set, we have 350 screws, 400 plugs, 3 setting tools, and it covers 100 square feet. Now the actual setting screw itself, or setting tool, is ingenious because it has this little cushion area on the end, as well as this little set plate, so you don't go in and dig too far. Now the perfect thing about this setting tool is that once you screw in the screw and it stops grabbing, it is fully in and placed correctly, so you can move on to the next screw. Now throughout this video, I'll be showing plenty of examples of how this fastening system really works, but the fact of the matter is that this is the strongest bond you're ever going to get because it's going dead through the board itself. Now the perfect thing about this fastening system is that it comes with plugs that match, and you can barely tell the difference between the actual boards and where the fasteners are once we install them. More on that later, trust me. Now, if you ever installed composite decking in the past, you might have come across the fact that if you do drill through the center of boards, the material itself tends to mound up slightly next to the head. Now, this causes kind of just a deformation, as well as just not a solid, crisp look, but with this system, you don't have to worry about that. The screw itself is countersunk in 2 different directions, so when you do have it secured and fastened, it then countersinks onto itself in order to make sure that there's no bulging or mounding at the screw head. It's a very nice aspect of these screws, and just another reason why I love this system. Now, proper spacing is always key when you're installing decking, especially with this amount of boardage that you're working with, because you want to make sure everything is lined up properly. This is why I'm using spacers throughout the entire process of installing these boards. Now we could use the Cortex fastening system for this entire project, but because the majority of this material is grooved and not square, we're going to be using the Camo Edge Clip System. Now the Edge Clip System is quite strong, and it's known for being extremely quick when it comes to the installation process, and the fact that the vast majority of all this material is grooved, this means that we have a lot of clips that we have to install. So let's get to it. Now the beauty of this hardware system is the fact that it has a clip that fits perfectly over the joist. Now every single joist will receive one of these clips, and the clip itself has a stainless steel bracket that fits perfectly in the groove. As you can see, it lines up nicely between each single joist, and once every single clip is placed in position, then you squeeze the next board against the clip systems, they fall into place, and then come back around and fasten the board in place. I actually still utilize the Cortex fastening system on the ends of each board, making sure that the boards don't move over time, as well as the fact that due to the joist layout, I cannot position the clip system in position on the ends of each board. However, when installing your camo fasteners, it's extremely easy with your never miss guide. That is this little yellow doohickey that you actually place over each screw, and with this guide you can place it, and supposedly it's never miss. I did miss a couple times in all honesty, but that could just be user error in general, but overall the system is fast and easy. I snap a string line down the center of my doubled up joist, and then based upon that string line, I adhere the Cortex fasteners to every single end of each board. Once fully fastened, I then utilize a border board and use that as a guide in order to cut a perfectly straight line with my skill saw. Now there's very little room for error at this point, so making sure that you double and triple check your measurements and your positioning is key at this point. Make sure you have a fresh blade for this because you don't want to jam up your board at all, and you want this to be a perfect cut. In order to accommodate that, a nice fresh blade generally helps that situation. Now once you have your cut fully completed, then proceed to making sure you do a quick cleanup with a vacuum because you don't want any of this loose debris particles in the way. Then once you have your border board cut, go ahead and proceed to installing the border that separates each section. Now this section is key because we don't have a 50-foot long span that goes all the way across. We have to create sections, and this is the first section that we have created. Luckily for us on this project, we have these beautiful 8-inch wide boards that differentiates the space significantly, and as long as we have proper spacing throughout the next following sections, all the boards should line up properly. I say properly, but I really mean it's damn well better line up, right? I mean, who's gonna screw that up? Not me. No. I really do love both these fastening systems, and it truly worked out quite perfect the way I incorporated it into this deck. The only caveat that I'd like to point out after utilizing both of these fastening systems is the fact that the camo bit itself that came with the kit burned out quite quickly. I went through at least 5 of these bits, and for some reason every single one was breaking or twisting at the very end of the bit. Now I went in and asked why this was happening, and they indicated that I should not be utilizing a impact driver. I should be using just a straight normal driver when actually screwing and adhering these boards into place, which inevitably didn't really make sense to me because the bit itself is made for an impact driver, but in the grand scheme of everything, it wasn't a big deal. Got taken care of, and we proceeded as follows. Now, once we got the second section in and in place, we proceed to doing the same system that we did, where we actually used a border board as a guide and cut the next section off. Once cut and cleaned up, we're able to install our next border board and proceed to the next section. Now at this point I'm getting quite excited due to the fact that it seems like I actually ordered the proper amount of material. Yeah, imagine that. This is very important just in general due to the fact that these boards are not cheap and we don't want to waste anything at this point. These boards are expensive, but are expensive for a reason since they are so durable, and these boards will last a lifetime. Now, I'm sure at a certain point I'll be getting plenty of questions as to how much I actually spent on this entire project. I will make sure and put a detailed list up at a certain point, but as of right now, just note that all materials including hardware, fasteners, lumber, decking, everything was approximately $13,000 to $14,000. Now that is a large chunk of change, but just know that this deck was built soundly and will last for years and years to come. And also note the fact that this type of deck will add a large deal of value to your home. So you have to also account for that, especially if you think you're going to be selling the home in the future. Gosh, I gotta be using that as a selling point when I submit bids. Yeah, I mean, come on. This deck will sell itself. It'll pay for itself. You don't have to worry about the cost of it. It'll just add the value to your home. Yeah. Moving on. Now this last and final deck rip is very important, not only to the fact that it just ties in the entire deck together, but the fact that this will be tying in the last mitered board. And this mitered board not only has to fit perfectly against the other mitered border board, but it also has to fit in perfectly with all the adjacent groove boards that I just cut. As well, of course, lining up nicely with the joist beam that is underneath that last border board. I do a bit of cleanup with my multi-tool just to make sure we have a perfect fit with the mitered edge. Once I do that, it fits snugly into place, just like we meant to do. Apparently someone knows what they're doing around here. It's certainly not me. No, couldn't be me. I'll have to find them and say thank you. Thank you so much. At this point, the only boards that I have left to install are the boards that fit snugly against the house. I did order these boards 8 inches wide due to the fact that I want to make sure I had a bit of extra space to accommodate any cutting that I needed, so I made a quick jig in order to determine exactly how far away my boards need to be away from the house in order to fit them snugly into place. Now at this point in time, we've done plenty of waterproofing and protection to make sure that no water seeps into the framework of the house, but doing a bit more of extra precaution, whether it's a little silicone, a little extra waterproofing tape, is much appreciated and is just good practice at this point. I proceed in ripping the last 2 boards that I have and install them into place. Just as a side note and precaution, try and make sure if the board that is facing the house is either flat or pointed away from the house. It's not pointed and angled towards the house, because if it's pointed towards the house, then more moisture might go that direction. Especially since we have a hose bib right there, we'll make sure that last couple boards are pointed away from the house. Now at this point, with all the decking in place, you just gotta sit back and say, wow, that was a nice job. And look at that line right underneath the window. That is quite perfect. And I'm not even gonna wait till the end. I'm gonna say that is one beautiful, sexy beast right there. Yep, but we gotta plug it, so let's do that. Now my next favorite thing about this Cortex fastening system is the plugs, and these plugs match the decking perfectly, and the only reason you can see that right there and the difference is because we're right on top of it. Oh yeah, you don't believe me? Well, check this out. I screw the screw into position, I place the plug on top, I hammer the plug in place, wipe it, and forget it. Yes, where did it go? I really don't know. Is this a magic trick? Is this a magic trick? Where'd the plug go? I don't see it anymore. Huh, look at that. Magic. Now I really do love this Cortex fastening system, whether it's the fact that it's strong, it's sturdy, it's easy to install. It does take a bit of time and energy to install it this way, but nothing's going to give you a better hold, and it doesn't affect the product because it's a Timbertech Azek product. As you can see, I did vacuum a few areas in which dirt and debris did find its way into my plugs. Into my plugs? Yes. Bit of common sense, but just wanted to make sure that no one jams their plug in there prior to vacuum out any holes that might have been filled up during the process. Now, as I noted before, I did place these Cortex fasteners throughout the border system of this entire deck, as well as each end of the groove boards. With just those areas alone, I went through over 400 screws. Therefore, I needed to install at least 400 plugs in the meantime. So it does take a bit of time and energy to install the system, but in the end, you'll be so thankful you did because it turns out incredibly gorgeous. Yes, look at that. Like a big stick of butter. So smooth. As I near the completion of this project, I realized the fact that this is going to be my 50th video on YouTube. It's been an incredible 3+ year journey, and I'm so grateful for all the opportunities that YouTube has been able to give me, as well as give me an outlet for my creativity, as well as provide content that helps others around the world. I take great pride in the videos that I create, and I'm truly grateful for all of my followers and viewership along the way. I wanted to say a special thank you to all of you, so inevitably I created some custom t-shirts for everyone. I'll be leaving links in the description box below on where to actually purchase them, but also note that I will be giving some free t-shirts away, yes, free, on my Patreon page. So please check those out, especially if you're seeing this as of recently, because I'm only giving out the first 50 free. Ah, man, now it's time to relax and enjoy this big, beautiful deck, right? Why not? I mean, come on, look at this gorgeous deck and how it turned out. Amazing. And thankfully to my brother-in-law, I got some amazing drone footage, as you can see here. And why not show it off? A little Vanna White style? Yes. Oh, yes. My, oh, my. This is the type of project that I love because you are truly sharing it with your family, friends, and loved ones, and especially this little guy. I know this little guy will be enjoying it for years and years to come. Oh yeah.
And there you have it, episode number 50, the big 5-0 of BYOT done. Thank you all so much for the love and support throughout the years. Please keep on watching, please like the video, please subscribe to this channel, and please check out my Instagram feed and my website that I just built. You can learn how to support the channel from there. In any case, thank you for your time, and catch you next time. Woo! As a quick bonus, everyone, I want to say thank you all for the love and support throughout the years. I am doing a BYOT custom t-shirt. This same t-shirt, just a big logo right here. So if you are interested in getting one to support the channel, please go to my Patreon page or my iBuy down below. It's going to be in the description, or check out my newly improved website at BYOTools.me. Thank you.